am I kidding? Day 2. This is like day 379 ahead of Super Bowl 60.
Yeah,
We've been working at this for quite some time. You just heard KB say, yeah, it is. Kyle Brandt, welcome to the West Coast. You are San Francisco adjacent. You are the first boots on the ground for GMFB. Lay the land for us. What's going on?
It's wonderful. And, Jamie, you're right. It has been a very long season. We've been at this for a couple hundred days. It's been a long time since Jalen Carter spit in Dak Prescott's face. And now here we are with only one game to play. But, yeah, this is where, like, the biggest stars in the league will be. As we come to find out, Joe Burrow will be here,
yeah.
Christian McCaffrey. And for all the things that the Pro Bowl Games does and presents, I say this every year. I get to go to the Super Bowl. It's very fortunate. I get to go to games. The best hang by far with the NFL players is at the Pro Bowl games. They're so happy. They're so loose. There's no stakes. They don't have to worry about blocking somebody. Just hanging out, fun, showing personality, interacting with fans. And we will all be here doing it tonight. And in the meantime, there's a relatively big tackle football game in several days from now between the Seahawks and these Patriots.
Yeah, we got to make sure we understand both events happening. Flag tonight. Tackle football on Sunday. And with that, we welcome in Jane Slater and Omar Ruiz, who have been with us since yesterday, stationed at the various team spots. Jane, I will start with you. Really entertaining opening night last night. What is the latest for the Patriots this morning? As I can imagine, they really start to lock in on their business this week.
They really do. And, you know, when we talk about this Patriots defense, Sam Darnold brought up something I hadn't really thought about until he did. And that was the challenge of facing this Patriots defense when they haven't had any common opponents. In other words, there's not a lot of crossover. So he's had to go deeper into the film than usual. But that extra time has helped. He's praised the scheme, the players that bring it to life. And what he's likely seeing, Jamie, is they're excellent at post-snap disguise. And when you take away Darnold's first read and you shrink the pocket, that's where he can be vulnerable. And that's where this pass rush shines. It's a head-on-a-swivel football when you've got Kayvon Chaisson and Harold Landry Jr. coming off the edge. Now, Chaisson alone, 14 pressures, 3 sacks, and that's just in this postseason alone. And then on the other side of the ball, as expected, the Tom Brady, Drake Maye comparisons, they came up a few times last night, but Mike Vrabel shut that down quickly, saying there will never be another Tom Brady. Now, Vrabel says he isn't into comparisons, but he did credit the 23-year-old second-year quarterback, Drake Maye, for getting them here in his first season with the Patriots. He said he wanted to coach him, loves his growth, and believes the best is still ahead. And what Maye has already done is become the second youngest quarterback ever to start a Super Bowl. He had the led it in completion percentage, and he was remarkably efficient under pressure this season. So we'll see how that holds up when it comes to Seattle. And as one coach joked, the dark side of the ball. One staffer pointed out to me, though, the one thing that you can't really see in terms of the stat box is how he's commanded the huddle, his leadership in year 2. This coach has worked with the likes of Matthew Stafford and literally said that is who Drake Maye reminds him of in the huddle. We don't typically see that until we see some of those mic'd up, but a lot of growth from this second-year quarterback. Speaking of those Seahawks, we've got Omar Ruiz to give you that side of the story this morning.
Hey, Jane, the Seahawks completed their first full day here in the Bay Area yesterday. They had all their interviews with NBC for the game broadcast on Sunday. They went over to San Jose State University, which will be their practice field for the week, had a walkthrough and practiced the halftime, the elongated halftime, what they're going to do during that process, going through all that. They'll be off today, and then Wednesday through Friday, they're going to have a normal practice week. Obviously, we hear every single year these teams try to keep as normal a schedule as possible. One thing that is anything but normal is opening night. Both of these teams having a lot of fun with it yesterday. There weren't as many fans. It was held inside the San Jose Convention Center. In years past, it's been in large NBA or NHL arenas or baseball stadiums or even the actual football stadium where the Super Bowl is held. So there weren't as many fans screaming their names. So you could actually hear a little more of the players and coaches last night and really talk a little more football. But you see Jackson Smith and Jigba there having some fun, and there was a lot of fun to be had. We'll share that a little more next hour. But here's a fun behind-the-scenes story that we had. Cam Wolfe, Jane's counterpart there with the Patriots, and I were hanging out behind the scenes after Commissioner Roger Goodell's press conference, and we were chatting up with Elliott Wolf, the Patriots general manager, and talking about how him and John Schneider knew each other from working with the Packers under Elliott's dad, Ron Wolf, back when he was running the organization. And that connection with Schneider goes even further back to the 90s. When Wolf was a kid, he would go into the office and hang out with John Schneider and learn from him back in those days. And so when Schneider walked in, those two gave a big, long, warm embrace, and just one of those behind-the-scenes cool moments from Super Bowl opening night that you could only get here in this kind of stage, in this kind of environment. So we'll be having plenty of more of those throughout the week. And I'll also hit on Kyle's conversation yesterday, those Super Bowl conversations. We were in rare form last night, Kyle. I know you're not going to want to miss that next hour.
Okay, what a tease, Omar and Jane. Thank you very much. A lot of shots from last night, images that you will want to lock in for the rest of the week, and one of which is standing on the stage, the two quarterbacks from Super Bowl 60, Drake Maye and Sam Darnold. They were both selected with the number 3 pick in their respective drafts, but Darnold and Maye took very different paths to get to the Super Bowl. Last night, the two QBs talked about their journey to 60.
Yeah, I think the only thing that matters is, if you believe in yourself, that's really it. I always believed in myself. I knew that I could do this at a high level, and that was really it. That's what kept me going, and I knew at some point an opportunity would arise. But even if it didn't, I knew that I did everything that I could to become a better player year in and year out.
Getting drafted seems like, years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and it really wasn't that long ago, coming up on 2 years. So what a journey. I know it's, I hope to play in this league a long time, but, not taking for granted how far that, how different the 2 seasons have been, and just learn the experience of this league and the ups and downs of it and the ebbs and flows, and know not to get too high on the highs and not to get too low on the lows. And I think that's one of the coolest parts about this sport, and what everybody wants to get to this game for. It's put so much work into it, and this is what you get out of it.
Drake's the second youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl, and he's like, man, I've been after this for 5 or 6 years. It's like, no, dude, you're 23. Drake Maye and Sam Darnold have had very different journeys to this week. Here's the question, though, Manti. You know the journeys, you know the teams, you know the circumstances. Which quarterback shoes would you rather be in ahead of Super Bowl 60?
I love me a comeback story. I love me a story of somebody had to rise from some ashes. And so I would have to say Sam Darnold. I think I like to equate. A lot of people talk about started from the bottom, now I'm here. I started from nothing and then I became something. A lot of people don't talk about the experience of what I call the half pipe of life. You're starting from the top, then you went down. And if you ever see a half pipe in BMX or snowboarding, that low part is a lot longer than the high. And a lot of times when people hit that low, the disbelief, the pressure, all of the things that happen mentally keep them down there. It takes a lot of courage to say, man, I believe in myself. Man, New York, I'm a Jet. There's a lot of things being said about me. Am I that? Am I not that? And then try to figure all of that out along the way and then come up. And I am really hopeful for Sam Darnold. So if I were to say, Zay, if I could be in anybody's shoes, it would be Sam Darnold on that redemption story, to ride this half pipe and then come up on the other end on top.
No, that makes sense. And I'm not going to defer on that one. I'm going to actually agree with you in the fact that I am, too, on Team Sam Darnold. The reason being is that I think that, yeah, that redemption story, right? But I also like the fact that as a competitor, you want to silence the doubters, right? There's just something innately in us that as athletes, you just want to tell everybody just to shh. You're hating on me, right? Like, this is my opportunity to put everything at ease, right? To shut all the cats up from the Jets, to shut up everybody from Carolina. Everybody told me I was just a backup in San Francisco, right? The Minnesota Vikings kicked me to the side and went along with their draft pick after I proved to them what I'm capable of doing. This is my time to go ahead and put everybody up on notice, or as I like to tell my son, put everybody up on game, right? So that is exactly what Sam Darnold has, and also I think he has the best supporting cast. So when you start talking about the pressure that's required of you and what's being asked of you as a quarterback in this game, do I have the receivers to help me? Do I have the offensive line and the running backs? Do I have a defense that allows for me to play within the game instead of having to try to go make something happen? So I believe that Sam Darnold, not only from the standpoint that he has a redemption story and he has some get back that he wants to have, but also I think his supporting cast is second to none.
Both great points. And with that said, I'm immediately going with Drake Maye. You know why? I love a comeback story, too. I don't want to be in one. I don't want to start from the bottom. If I can start from the top, if that is available as an option, I will choose to start from the top. Manti, I love the half pipe, too, but I don't want to, Sam Darnold broke his leg 3 times coming down that half pipe before he started, doing the hand plants and stuff. If you're allowing me a means with which to skip all those steps and just come in the league and have success, I will go with Drake Maye every single time. Baking and who was entrepreneurial, like that sounds like a dream come true. In my day job, I go and play football for one of the best coaches in the NFL, and I'm just ahead of schedule, and I'm about to become the youngest quarterback ever to win the Super Bowl. I mean, I like Sam Darnold's story too, but if I can just cut all the crap and get right